G'day, mate, and welcome back to Capital Industry with me, Jetty. And today we have a coal situation. We're hoping to completely get off coal this episode. We're completely get off mining coal. I should probably tidy that up and say completely get off mining coal this episode because we have a severe coal problem. We've had a severe coal problem for a while, but it's getting worse. It's getting much worse. But before we get into the technicalities and the technicals of exactly how we're going to accomplish that, as always, I need to thank a YouTube member. Thank you, YouTube member, for keeping the channel ad-free and choosing to support the channel. And today we're going to be thanking the wonderful G-Man Gamer, who has promised to drive this dump truck at least until we run out of coal. Which is going to be very soon because, well, coal-wise, we have that. That's it. We mined out this half of the coal mine originally so we can build on top of it, and then we filled it back in afterwards. But that's it. That's all the coal that's left on the map, which means we definitely need to kick things into action. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is I have a problem with food. I have a problem with food backing up, and it's not because this is, well, it is because this is backing up. But it's also mainly caused by, well, animal feed. Animal feed is completely backed up. We are taking animal feed, feeding off to the chickens. Also have a backup tank right here. But on top of that, I have this belt which takes animal feed around the corner, which we're also going to upgrade. This is where the excess animal feed goes, and it's actually heading over here, where it feeds in right here, which is one of the places we are burning coal. We're burning coal right here to run into these guys, which create extra water, which we feed into the into the farms. Actually, it doesn't go into the colony; it goes directly in the farms. And as we can see, it's already got a mix of animal feed and coal. But hopefully, if I make this belt go faster, it should be definitely more coal, more animal feed, and less coal. At the same time, whilst we're at the back of the map, we should talk about the digging team and the solar team. So I've thrown down more solar panels, a lot more solar panels. At the same time, the digging team is doing a wonderful job. But as we can see, this is why we need to get off coal, where we have a power problem. We'll get the power problem as the episode continues. Digging team is doing wonderful, but we're going to give them another couple of buckets. They're a little bit closer than their existing ones over here. Also means that we are going to make sure all the trucks are definitely busy and rip up everything between there and there and those buckets as well. Yep, good luck, trucks. We should have those done. Yep, they're done. Good. Yep. So digging team now has 2 new buckets to visit, and all of this shall be emptied eventually and dumped to the sea. Whilst we're at the back of the island, we also need to talk about the housing problem, the housing crisis. As always, we're dumping the trash in the sea, and we're always going to need more people. Unfortunately, the trading dock is in the way again, and I've already put in some extra housing. I need to put in another 3 across here, but I have a problem with, well, this is in the way. So I need to remove the seawater pump. Now, these seawater pumps are feeding these desal plants that we are now hoping to have mainly running on animal feed. Oh yeah, that's way more animal feed on it than coal. Beautiful. But I need to remove one of those, one of the seawater pumps. So I'm lucky enough that this happens to be on the top pipe, which conveniently I already have a pump down here that was never built. It was blueprinted in a long time ago, and we just haven't had a need for it. So it's sat there to ghost till now, which means I can build that guy and remove that guy and remove that pipe and get in even more housing. Come on. Okay, which means I can build those 2, which we're going to pause. All right, we'll leave the trucks to build that. At the same time, now that they've completely blocked themselves in, we'll have them dump that. That should let Mr. Trucky Truck out. All right, continuing on with our things that we need to do around the map. I have a worker problem. Always have a worker problem. We've got 48 workers, and I need to do some things this episode. Now, I do have a situation where I'm not burning animal feed fast enough to create water, because I just don't need a lot of water anymore. In fact, I've actually had to turn off one of the nuclear reactors, but we'll get to that in a second, because I have too much water. The good news is, out here on the world map, we were bringing in water, We're going to pause that. We're going to pause that guy entirely, which is going to give me a few extra workers. Next thing we need to do, as scrolling around the map, is over here. Over here is the poop factory. The poop factory, which takes out the colony wastewater and converts it into clean water and sludge. Sludge we convert into fuel gas and compost. Compost we turn into organic fertilizer. The fuel gas comes into this balancer. This balancer splits it 3 different ways. One is to run the statue of maintenance, costing a whole of 2 fuel gas. The other one is to run into the tomb, costing 3.8 fuel gas, which leaves me, what, 54 fuel gas left over. 54 fuel gas left over is coming this way and running into this pipe, coming through this balancer and then into here, which is running the hydrogen reformer, because I need hydrogen as part of our medical supplies. The excess fuel gas is coming over here and running to this guy, which I've had to uni boost for quite some time because he processes without the boost 36, which is not enough. So what I want to do is actually want to retire this guy. We're going to retire that balancer actually, and we're going to run that pipe straight through, which means I'm going to end up with a situation where I have too much fuel gas in the not too distant future, and I will need to find something to do with it. What we're going to do with it is, if we follow the pipe all the way back, is it's going to prioritize out to those two. Everything will fill into here into the very long skinny tank, also known as a pipe. Once that's full, it'll back up. What I want to do is I want to give it a way to go, and I want to do this as a priority. So we're going to go out there first. Yep. And then, like every good cooking show, I have prepared the pipe in advance. It's going to run the excess fuel gas, i.e. only after that is all backed up, it'll run the excess fuel gas over here. Over here is another spot we're burning coal. We are burning just a little bit of coal, not a lot of coal, into these 2 boilers, which is creating some clean water, which is being used to run, well, to supplement the amount of water we get from the wastewater treatment plant. So I'm going to put in a little guy back over here, which is going to burn fuel gas. Fuel gas is the priority, well, steam from fuel gas is the priority in, providing we have fuel gas. In theory, you burn 48. 48, I'm hoping is going to be enough. Math says it probably, because we're 48 here, plus the 6 we're burning between these two is what, 54, which means hopefully the hydrogen form is using the other 6. Hopefully. I honestly don't know. Another thing I want to do to get off our reliance on coal is, after seeing Zinc's 100% sustainable map, which I'll actually put a link up the top right hand corner, also down the pinned comments below, is I want to look at clean panels, which will increase the output of our solar by 5%, not a lot, for a cost of half a uni, not too expensive. I can go up to level 2, which will further increase it by another 10% for another cost of 1 uni. And then I could even go as far as increasing it again with Clean Panels 3 by another 15% for another 1 uni. That 2.5 uni is a little bit expensive, but it has increased all the panels by 25%, which means cloudy day. Okay, cloudy day, perfect example. We're doing 42 kilowatts. If I turn that off, we go down to 32. As I have, and max goes up to 52 from 40. Actually, that's one hell of an increase. That's extra 40. Hang on. 12 over 40. 30%? 15, 25, 30%. Yeah, it's a 30% increase. As I have 400 solar panels. Yes, I've done the count. I have about 400 solar panels. It's a hefty increase. I have 400 solar panels. I have 8 to 16 megawatts coming from just solar. 8 on a very rainy day. No, 8 megawatts worth of power on a heavy rain day and 16 megawatts on a sunny day. Hopefully that little boost will again cut down on our coal usage for power. Next thing we need to do is, no, they're already being built. Next thing we need to do is we need to fly across the island. There are so many things we need to get done today. All right. Another spot we're using coal is these sort of situations. These sort of situations where I have a backup coal to run steam for things like oil. What I want to do is I want to get off that completely. So rather than burning coal, I want to burn oil. So we're going to put in another distill stage 1, which is going to take in our crude oil plus some of the steam, give us some medium oil, heavy oil, and sour water. Always love sour water, but that's besides the point. Power problems. Yeah, power problems. Whoop, 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 whoop. We'll get there. Heavy rain is bad for us currently. All right. With that added in, I need to add in another boiler. This one, running medium oil, which we're going to add into the mix. Now, currently this outputs steam into this pipe, and it's priority fed into this one, okay, with the coal boilers being as a backup. But I actually have too much steam, way too much steam. So what I want to do is I want to build this pipe. This pipe is going to bring the steam over here into this balancer. This balancer is outputting the steam into here, which is running into, well, the old oil. Both the I do a little bit of everything oil, also the dedicated diesel oil. So we're going to add the excess steam from there to here, and therefore, in theory, these guys that were burning coal, which were being used a fair bit, are now no longer going to be used. It should all be steam from oil. Steam from oil. At the same time, now I have 2, 4, 6, 7 of these guys providing 60 exhaust each. I have a nice 420 exhaust, which means I'm going to remind you guys, it's a great time to click the like on the video. Really, really like those likes. Means I need to deal with that exhaust. The exhaust pipe is that one. That one. Exhaust is coming over here. It's going into the magic balancer of balancing exhaust. And we are running it out in all sorts of different directions. But we also have an excess, which currently has exhaust in it, which implies that I have too much exhaust and not enough ways of dealing with it. So what I want to do is I want to build another exhaust scrubber. This has just been tagged in on the system with a little bit of everything. We're bringing in, well, we're going to bring in the exhaust on this pipe, which will run into the scrubber. It's going to have a clean water input from that, which doesn't have any clean water currently. That's a problem. How do I do this? I need to put clean water in you to get you running. Clean water. I don't have... Okay, we're going to run from... Oh my god. That pipe to that pipe. Yeah. Quick deliver. And then I'm going to toggle the direction on you. Okay. Which should give you enough water to run. Okay. And then I need to toggle the direction back on that and remove that pipe. Now you should keep running, I hope. Okay, so your steam's going to pop out to here. It's going to run into these 2 thermal desalinators with the correct recipe set, which is steam low. And you should output your clean water back into this guy to keep the loop running. And the excess clean water we should be able to tuck in there, I hope. That's going to be the plan, at least for that one. Yeah, I'm now wondering if this is going to work. No, you're out of water. Crap. Can I remove that and remove that? And put in a balancer here. Yeah, full on spaghetti pipe. I really don't mind. Thank you. And you into there, and you into there. Okay. You're going to priority out and don't have any water currently, which means I'm going to toggle the direction, which should let you fill up and run a few times. And after you've run a few times, you should have plenty of steam and water in the system, and then you should be good to go. Oh, helps if that pipe exists. Okay, so then toggle direction, and that means we should be able to dump the water back out that we don't need. Yeah, I got water coming in. Everything should be hunky-dory now. All right, we're taking the excess sulfur and we're just dumping it into this guy right here because he happens to be local. And the extra CO2 we're putting in this pipe, which is running over here, and joining into the main CO2 pipe, which goes out to the graphite makers. At the same time, these guys... These guys are running hydrogen and making depleted steam. Well, steam and depleted steam right here, which is supplementing the pipe that I just inlaid, which is supplementing the coal. Well, the coal is supplementing it if there's no steam. Yeah, with the picture. All right. What I want to do is, currently we were running those through a whole bunch of thermal desalinators to convert the depleted steam back into water, have a positive water loop. But I have a problem of not enough people. So, and technically too much water. So what I want to do is I want to remove this whole old system, including that pipe, and no, I want to leave that one, but that's the seawater. So seawater I want to remove as well. That, and that whole seawater pipe back to here, it turns out. Yes, here it turns out. At the same time, that's the brine, which we can get rid of. That's the output of clean water, which I can get rid of, and it now means I can pause that guy. Again, we're just trying to recover some workers. This is sort of the point I'm at. I have a lot of other resources. Workers, I'm definitely hurting on. We'll get rid of that too. All right, to replace that, because I do need to have something, I'm going to put in a large cooling tower. Now, a large cooling tower is less efficient when it comes to water, but more efficient when it comes to people. A lot more efficient. Also, technically more efficient when it comes to, well, power. Each one of, I've got a whole stack of them right here. Each one of these guys is costing us 40 kilowatts and 4 people. Also some maintenance. The maintenance I don't care about. This is going to cost me 4 people. Just 4 people. No power, no maintenance, and it'll process 96 depleted steam. Let's turn that off and that off. In saying that, we output 12, 24, 48 on a good day. In theory, this is never running. As we can see, it's full of high pressure steam currently and has nowhere to output because, well, it's completely supplemented by this system. But should it need to output, it now can. And we're running the most efficient recipe because we have the large cooling tower rather than the small cooling tower. Small cooling tower could only do 24 anyway, and technically if they're all running we'd be producing 48. Okay, so that gets that up and running. Next thing we need to do is we need to talk about more power. So one of the things I had to do is I had to actually turn off the smart nuclear reactor. Main reason I had to turn this off is I had too much water in the water system. So water wise, we have this tank up here, which should be full. It's obviously not full because I've had to turn off the smart reactor. And that's feeding water into all the farms. Now, the farms have multiple problems. One of them is now that they've all been boosted in production with a whole pile of fertilizer, we keep having a situation, and there's none of you on the screen right now. Keep having a situation where food cannot get out fast enough. We already counted this with the first row of farms where we had to actually put in a bypass for the rear farms. These extra 10 have their own dedicated belt which comes up and around the outside and into the great food balancer. What I need to do is on the second row, it's currently up. There we go. There's one. Could not store all soybeans. Yes. We've got a couple of problems. What I want to do is I want to take all of these guys and I want to put an express belt right here, which will bypass, come all the way up here, all the way up here, all the way up here, and actually bypass the Great Balancer, because the Great Balancer is bringing in 1, 2, 3, 4 belts worth and outputs to just 3. This one, this one, and this one, which then go through the sorters to make sure that we pull out the corn and we pull out potatoes to run into the actual colony. Everything else needs to come into these belts and go over to, well, there. What I have is I do have a bypass belt. Should it not be able to output to these 3 fast enough, it can throw the excess out into here, which would then just bypass it to the other side of the balancer. We're going to bring in this belt, which means anything from these farms technically doesn't go through the sorter. So I have no idea what it is, and it's not being sorted, but it's not a lot of farms, so it should be fine. The only things we need to pull out in advance is corn and potatoes. Come on, build faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the GUI disappear just before I click on it. I'm going to pause that belt. It does mean everything's going to have to come out that way once that belt is fully built, and then can go through and just skip on the bypass. There we go. So that should run flat out. At the same time, I have a couple of other farms that are suffering in here and can't output fast enough because, well, we're just not getting food. It's a bit of a mix of not getting food through here fast enough and we're not eating it fast enough. Like, wheat's full. Soybeans are over halfway. Canola's okay so far. Corn's full. Sugarcane's falling slowly. Poppies, I already had to upgrade the storage once because we had too many of them. And medical is, well, full. I could set up a boat to start trading out the medical and bring in some copper for free. It's worth a shot, but not right at the moment. We're going to remove that, and remove that, and remove you as well. Okay, because they're all done. We now have the fuel gas going elsewhere. All right. Next thing we need to do, now hopefully food is sorted, is we turn back on the smart reactor. Smart reactor is currently not running any power, which means all of these guys are back up and running, creating a whole bunch of clean water, which goes into said tank. From said tank goes into these 3 magical pipes, 1, 2, and 3, and runs up to the farms. But we have other problems. We actually have a situation where mostly we have too much water. Early game, water is definitely an issue. As you work later in the game and you start getting arc furnaces, these lovely guys, they bring in water and they automatically turn it to steam. And they do that as a 0 cost because you need to have smelters running. These are more coal efficient, and therefore you need to do something with the steam. The logical thing, because it's low pressure steam, is run into a desalination plant, which means for every 12 steam you put in, you get out 24 water, which means I constantly have more and more water I need to deal with. We are running a certain amount of water this way to run back into the start of the steel build, but I'm preparing to retrofit that if I get enough power up to arc furnaces, and the excess water, which currently happens to be empty, is running over here, going into this tank and going up to the ether over there to run the farms. But I also need more power. I need a lot more power. We're sitting at 104 megawatts with the edicts on, but it's not nearly enough. We definitely need more power. Now I have options to make more power. We did use a whole bunch of coal, which we're trying to get rid of. On the other side of the map over here, this power plant here, or these 2 power plants, have, well, they're using 18 coal each. So there is 6 total power plants with 2 boilers each using 18 coal each, which means this belt right here is using 216 coal. If I can squeeze another 15 megawatts or 30 megawatts total from somewhere, I can cut 216 coal out of my coal usage every minute. So our options are a number of them, but one I like most is uranium, mainly because we have that uranium contract. Size 8 ship, this uranium contract right here, which I'm completing about once every 12 months. So if I'm bringing in 576 uranium ore divided by 12 months means I'm bringing in 48 per month. 48 per month is enough to run another 4 reactors. Now, originally I built infrastructure to build 4 reactors, and we have reactor 1, which is going great. We have reactor 2, the smart reactor, which does either power, only when it gets really, really rainy and overcast, this should kick in. Otherwise, it does water. And the main place the water goes is off to the farms. And then we have reactor 3, which does mainly power. And then in here, I threw in reactor number 4, which does, well, power, and should it ever have the opportunity, which it hasn't had in forever, ran the excess steam over here and into running oil. It hasn't done that for a long time. But I'm also mining enough uranium to run another 3 reactors. My problem is I only built the infrastructure originally to run 4 reactors. The good news is I have spaghettied in the extra infrastructure required for at least 2 more reactors. It might not be enough, but you know, it's a start. So we need to bring in uranium ore. That's the easy part. We then need to crush it. After it's been crushed, it needs to run into 2 of the settling tanks to be turned into yellow stone, yellow brick, yellow whatever it is, which needs to run into those machines. Yellow cake. On top of that, the yellow cake requires hydrogen fluoride, which comes from this particular guy. This particular guy takes rock, converts into hydrogen fluoride. Most of these processes need acid, so I need to have this guy up and running as well, which will create acid. And then, of course, I make toxic water, which needs to go into a treatment plant and get sorted. I would have really liked to have used a different treating plant, like tied into some of the existing infrastructure, but this treatment plant is absolutely maxed out if it's running, and if gold is running. Gold's not running, so I could possibly get away with it, but it's better off not to risk it. At the same time, I want to take this and I want to wrap it into there instead. We need to bring our uranium rods out. Now, these guys are going to make 3 uranium pellets each. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, which means over here, I'm going to need another assembler to make more uranium rods. With the infrastructure we just added, we should get another 2 uranium rods out. And I need to just grab the uranium rods and take them into this assembler. Yeah, please. Thank you. Great. And you should now make another half a dozen uranium rods for us, which we should be able to run into that machine or that belt to then run into that storage to then have more uranium rods. Now, one thing I do need to do is I do need to get sulfur in here because I don't think trucks can reach. I know they can definitely reach the rock one because we built pipes directly hard up against it. This is a little bit further away, so I do happen to have sulfur over here, which is like all of these exhaust scrubbers outputting into. So we're just going to take a belt through this mess somehow. I don't really care how, because all this is on iteration number 8 or 9. Therefore, everything is a mess. It's all 100% spaghetti mess, mostly placed by AI at this point, which means it's extra special. We're going to put this belt around here. We're just going to cuddle hard up against everything and run into that input. That should be all we need to do to get enough sulfur into there. Yeah, we're stealing it technically off the sulfur input for gold, but considering gold's running fine and the trucks can access this to top it up, I think we'll be perfectly fine. All right, next thing we need is more workers. Can I click on that? Cool. You're not going to collapse. At least I hope you're not. So I need to unpause one of these. Oh, at the same time, I can finally build that in, which should get us sediment quality, 0.94. Should get us extra 0.06 unity. Oh, it's the big numbers. It's the big numbers. But yes, with another housing in and built, we should have more free workers, which means I can continue building. Because if we're going to process more uranium, I need to have another nuclear reactor to make more power. Each nuclear reactor does 15 megawatts worth of power, which means we're going to build that. Actually, we're just going to build the whole thing. We're going to build the whole thing up to here. Cool. All right, this nuclear reactor. This nuclear reactor is going to eventually have uranium rods get here, eventually have the waste go away. At the same time, when it comes to nuclear reactors, we need 80 people. 80 people that run the reactor itself. Plus, to run the power plant, I need another 4 people, plus 4 people, plus 6 people. So I need another 14 people to run each 5 megawatts worth of power, and 80 to run the nuclear reactor, which means I need 122 people to run a full nuclear reactor. And then I need to deal with the depleted steam. Now, depleted steam, in a lot of cases up until this point, I have been using the desalination plants running on the depleted steam. Reason being, it cost me about 100 people. It also cost me about a megawatt worth of power, but rather than the system being water negative by about 72 water per minute, it was water positive by about 72 water per minute. Because I now have a whole bunch of arc furnaces producing a whole bunch of wrong ones, low pressure steam, which we're turning into water, and it's so water positive, we're now going to be swapping over to a lot more of these because I just have extra water. Also means that what I need to do is I need to make sure you definitely have water. So, and you're going to need to add more water to the system. So I've already tied this in. That's a really bad pipe. Can I bring it the other way instead? Much better, much neater. Thank you. I have already tied this into this row of desalinators being the bottom pipe, plus this row of desalinators being the top pipe, and I'm just bringing all that water through here first before it then exits back the way it was coming. At the same time, we do have a buffer tank. It's a decent sized buffer tank. We might just upgrade it anyway. And I have put in the extra fluid storage. One thing I haven't put in is the smokestack, just in case we have any meltdowns. We hope not to have meltdowns. That's definitely connected, right? Yeah, it did. Okay. We hope not to have any meltdowns, but you know, you never know. All right, we're just going to crank the reactor to... Oh, there's no rods in the reactor. Oh, because it's not on. All right, we're going to crank the reactor. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There. Straight to level 3. We are running these generators at power production level 3 because they have no flywheels. They need to run at all times, with nothing but at all times running. They have no way of storing the power, so I need to keep them running at maximum rate, whereas these are on power level 6 because they have the ability to store some excess mechanical energy in the flywheels for those times when, you know, power goes up. Our power needs to go up and down. These guys, same story, no flywheels, so they're set to power level 3. We need them to burn. We also need that pipe to go in there before a nuclear reactor overheats. Yes. Okay. The way these are set up, they're going to be losing 24 water on each cycle, on each power row. So we're going to be losing 72 water in this build. As long as I can get 72 water out of these desalinators and these desalinators, I should be fine. It does rely on the fact that quartz never turns off, which is probably a safe bet, but not a guarantee. Okay, next thing as we work our way across the map is we set up the graphite build. The graphite build is actually doing wonderful. They are disposing of all the CO2 we can feed them, and should they ever need to, they do have options going over to the coal and chlorine recipe, but so far they haven't need to. One thing I do need to do is I do need to build this belt, which is going to bring our graphite all the way over to our steel build. Rather than us processing it with truck movement, we can do it with belt movement, so much better. And at the same time, I'm going to upgrade that to a tier 2 belt to move 200. Also means that I can now set this to 0 because we don't actually need to bring graphite here anymore. And we're going to build this belt. This belt is going to take our graphite around to here, where we can, if I'm smart about this, toggle direction, toggle direction, toggle direction, direction, direction. That one, and that one. Okay, and all of the other ones are already going to the right. Okay, so we can bring this belt over to the copper side, and again, same story, just cut out trucks moving graphite across the map. Also means I can set this one to 0 as well. Now, we did have this guy running on Uni to process twice the amount of carbon dioxide from these exhaust scrubbers, because they're processing all the exhaust from the copper smelting, also the glass smelting, and also my newfound friend of the steel build. But I'm sick of Uni boosting this guy. So he already has 2 backups being built right here, and that means I can retire him. And in theory, unconfirmed, but in theory it should work this way, that because they are building it locally and sideloading that belt, they should have a preference to feed into that belt without a problem. Should. And yes, it means I'm going to have 2 of them rather than 1, which perfectly suits me. In fact, I'm going to set you to be deleted, and I also want to do the same with this one. I want to set you to be deleted as well. All right. So that should fix my graphite problem. Toggle. That's better. Okay. There's always one of them. Okay. So yes, that should solve my graphite problem permanently. Permanently. It should all be coming from... Where are we? You guys should just be eating all our CO2 up. No, we don't have enough, so we are going to run some coal and some chlorine through here. It's just a little bit, I don't mind. It should be fine, especially as we need to fill up a whole pile of belts, basically. All right, next thing you want to do is, like I said, I have too much water. So another place I can cut back water. So this tank should not be full. That's a problem. All right, another place I can consume water and I can also recover workers is this reactor here. This reactor here is making depleted steam. The depleted steam is going into these guys, which is then converting depleted steam back into water and giving me positive 72 water. So the water comes in here, goes through this balancer where we prioritize it out to that system, and then it has a out into this balancer, which is now priority in, so it can be added to this pipe. Problem is that pipe be full, and that pipe be full, and that pipe be full, which technically means that we have a situation where steam starts to back up in... Hasn't done it yet. Where are we? You. Hang on. Is it all of those? It's that pipe, and that pipe, and that pipe, and that pipe in there. Yes, if these back up in water, bad things happen. It means steam starts to back up the system. We do have sizable buffers. I've always won on sizable buffers, but there is a chance that the whole thing backs up. We have a nuclear meltdown. So what I want to do is I want to start consuming water right here. We already know that if we put in the cooling towers instead, one of these guys, we go from being water positive to water negative. That's the plan. So I want to come in here and we're going to do something savage. We are going to remove all those pipes and the flywheels. Do I want to keep a flywheel? Actually, where is you? If I put you here, so I can still fit, I fit a flywheel. Let's keep a flywheel. So we're going to remove everything between there and there. We're also going to remove that squiggly pipe that goes into the desalination plant. We're going to remove all of that and all of that. At the same time, this is the seawater pipe, which comes all the way over to this balancer. I already know that we're using at least 1 pup's worth of seawater, which means I can remove that whole pipe and pause one of those guys, saving another 2 workers. Don't forget, I have 24 of these, needing 4 workers each. Is 24 times by 4, plus 2 for that particular pump, and we also produce a whole lot of brine. A whole lot of brine comes into here, goes around this way and into this balancer, and we produce 72 brine. As these guys are not running flat out, I can definitely pause one of them. Pretty sure I can pause a second one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can pause the second one. Okay, that's the pipe I'm looking for. Yes. Okay, so I also want to remove that. Alright, with that done, we're going to set Unity to all of that, because currently, probably should turn off the reactor first. Yeah, that's fine. We run life risky. Okay. We need to have a cooling tower large. We're going to go with 1, 2, 3 side by side. We need to run that pipe into there, that pipe into there, and that pipe into there. We also need to run that pipe out, that pipe out, and that pipe out. And this, we're just going to run straight down to here and into this one, which is going to be a priority in. And where's that pipe under there? I want to toggle the direction on that one. So rather than you being a straight through for water, you're now going to priority out into this one, which is then going to have the steam returned as well. The steam, depleted steam turned back into water with the priority in to top up the tank, and then it will get supplemented off this main line. Yeah, I can remove that pipe. Don't need that either. Okay, if I click move and I click remove and I click remove, that'll buy seconds. I like seconds. Remove. Cool. I just need to make sure you don't overheat. That'd be preferable. It's not full yet. It's not full yet. Everything's fine. There we go, up and running. So this will then convert the water back and pump it back in the system. And like I said, I'm now at least removing, what was it? 72 water. 72 water per minute off this pipe, which all comes from the same tank. And that's the start. But I did say that I had enough infrastructure to run 2 nuclear reactors. And if I'm lucky, we'll find out real fast. If I'm lucky, I should be able to... Where's our belts? Our belts are there. Okay, let's try and put you there. Let's try, actually, no, let's put you there. Let's put that in its entirety. Okay, that's going to be problematic here. Oh, we could probably fit it in here. How much water are we running back? We're running back 72 times 3 is 216 times by 2 is 432. Okay, so if I clipped this into that pipe, everything would be fine. Okay, if I had a reactor and I remove that pipe and I ran that to there and then around into there. I could probably put a reactor 1 tile higher. If I can put a reactor 1 tile higher, I can hopefully get the uranium fuel cells into that slot and also get the waste out of here and into height 2 into, come on, that waste belt. All right, next thing I need is water, which if I can take it off that tank, that'd be brilliant. I can possibly. Let's just bring you to right here for a second, because I would really like to at least put an emergency cooling on it just in case. Which would go, well, that's not gonna fit, that's not gonna fit. Have to go there, which means that goes in there, and that goes in there, and then into there. Okay, which means now I need to get this pipe of clean water, which is hard up against the belt, a pipe rather. That'd be very dangerous. Let's not do that. I thought of an idea. It'd be a very dangerous idea. We're not going to do it. Not for a nuclear reactor. Can I get a pipe through this side? That'd be preferable. No. Can I move you back? Sure. And run that there. Run that into there. And then run this through to there? Sure. Alright, so 1 nuclear reactor, we just need to, well, I need to put a, where's a chimney? Chimney on there and output into, well, that pipe should do us. No idea what direction any of those are going. I think trucks can get through there. I hope so, at least. And could I fit that there? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I'm damned if I do. Okay, I'm squeezing stuff in. Oh, we're just gonna build it where it is. Okay. With you, really? Why can't I do that? Oh, it's 800 parts. Oh, that's why I can't do it. Yeah, that's a lot of parts. Okay. And you guys would feed back into there. That'll be fine. You're coming out of the output tank. That'll be fine. Yeah, I just need 800 parts. If I had 800 parts, everything would be fine. All right, once I have 800 parts, I can build you. You're going to need another 80 workers, which means I'm going to have 24 workers available, but I have added 15, 30 megawatts worth of power, which means, hopefully, if I've done it right, you're not running, you're not running, you're not running, you're not running, you're not running. We're in sunny weather. You're not running, you're not running, you're not running, you're not running, and you're all not running, which means this belt's no longer running, which means I'm doing much better than I once was. Now, when it's raining, some of you are running. I don't know why you're running. Oh, because they are. Well, you're not running. Power 12. Power. Oh, you're power 9. What? 8, 12. Okay. Let's try that again. 8 should be running. Yes. 9 should not be running. Correct. Okay. So as soon as I get another 800 parts, we can make another nuclear reactor. This one right here. Actually done. One more nuclear reactor up and running. That's another 15 megawatts worth of power, which means both those coal plants should definitely be shut down by now, which means hopefully I can stop burning that coal. That is one of our main contributors of coal. The other one is, well, these blast furnaces and these blast furnaces. But now that I have graphite being belted across and I have some spare power, we should be able to start enabling these. Every single time I enable these, I should be able to turn off consumption of 30 coal, which should add up real fast. But I'm out of time. I'm definitely out of time for this episode, which means I need to end this here. Don't forget, we will be back with the next episode, probably by then, with no coal left. Probably. So we've got whatever we've got in storage, plus whatever we can get trade for. Plus, there's always the option about going out to the world map and starting a world map mine, because we're desperate. But anyway, I need to leave this episode here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the very next episode. All right, bye.